All righty, so we're gonna start with our 30 jumping jacks. So remember, you can step touch here, or you can do the full jack whenever you guys are ready. Let's go for 30. And then we'll go through our stretches. Okay, Naoko got them. Okay, so standing up nice and tall, looking over your right shoulder. And then back through center over your left shoulder. Back to center, tilting your right ear down towards your right shoulder. And opposite, left ear down towards the left shoulder. And then coming back to center, we're gonna do our head roll. So tuck the chin down to the chest. Keep your eyes open. We're gonna go all the way around to the right side, to the left and down. Let's do 3 head rolls going this direction. Nice and easy. And then we'll reverse. We'll do 3 opposite directions. And then once you get your 3, head comes back to center. We're going to move down to those shoulders. Shoulder rolls up, down, and forward. Do about 3 or 4 just with the shoulders, and then start to incorporate those elbows. And then full arm circles all the way up, around, and forward. Two more forward, and then let's reverse. And take it up, down, and backwards. Really dropping those shoulders away from the ears, incorporate the elbows. And then full body circles. Full arm circles. I guess you could try to do a full body circle, all the way up, down, and back. Let's do 3 more. And then take those arms out to the side, swing them forward, crossing over. Nice and easy, not trying to control it. Get all the kinks out of our elbows and wrists. We're working all day. And go ahead, shake it on out, moving down to the hips, hip hinges, feet right underneath your hips, knees unlocked. Send that tailbone back, back is flat. Feeling this in the backs of your legs. Do 2 more. And then coming up to standing, take those feet nice and wide. We're gonna do our hip hinges. So pushing our right hip up and back first, feeling that stretch in the inner left thigh. Couple deep breaths, move through center. Let's push that left hip up now. Up and back, stretching up the right inner thigh. And back to center, bring those feet in just a little bit for our hip circles. Now we're gonna do 3 around to the right, full circles, front side, back side. And we'll do 3 around to the left. Try to keep your legs as straight as you can. Unlock the knees a little bit if you need to. 3 and then reverse. And once you get your 3 and your 3, bring those feet right back underneath you. We're gonna go into our calf stretch. So 1 foot forward, 1 foot back. If you need to balance using your chair, go ahead and do so, or a wall. Back heel stays down. We're just gonna bend, extend that front knee. Feeling the stretch in the back calf. Both heels stay on the ground. Let's do 2 more on this side. And then we'll just switch around, opposite side. Take your time, set yourself up. Both heels on the ground, bend and extend that front leg. Looking out the crack. 2 more. And then come back to center, feet come right back underneath your hips again. Unlock your knees, hands to those knees. We're just do our knee circle. So again, feet stay on the ground. Just dipping around and then straightening those legs, working out the ankles and knees just a little bit more, and then reverse direction. And then coming to standing, let's just do our ankles. So we're pointing and flexing the right foot first. Point flex. A couple times. Then when you're ready, you can start to do your circles, ankle rolls around to the right, and ankle rolls around to the left. Again, if you need to hold on for balance, please do so. Shake it out and switch. Point and flex first, and then circles. Make sure you get both directions. And then go ahead, shake it on out. Alrighty, guys. So starting off with some supersets tonight. So 2 exercises. This first set, you just are going to need your dumbbells. So don't need any of the rest of the fancy stuff yet. Just weights. We're starting off with lunges, everyone's favorite movement. Tonight, so I've been doing a lot of movement lunges. Tonight, I'm going to demonstrate a stationary lunge, which is non-movement lunge. But for those of you guys that want to be a little bit more dynamic, you can do stepping lunges, walking lunges, forward or backwards. I'm just going to keep them stationary. If you're new to lunges, this is a great way to start anyway. If you've been doing lunges for a long time, it's still actually a good practice to do them sometimes stationary and then just add your weight onto it. So in a stationary lunge, we start in kind of our lunge stance. So we have 1 foot forward, 1 foot back. The difference between what we just did in our stretch and what we're about to do is the back heel. So the back heel in a lunge is going to stay up, but I really want a wide stance. Okay, I want a nice wide stance. I'm going to rotate my hips so they're facing towards my front leg, and I'm just going to focus on bending that back knee. Okay, front heel stays on the ground. My hands can be on my hips, or if I want to hold dumbbells, they're going to be at my sides. I'm just going to bend that back knee down for as low as what I can comfortably do, and then I'm going to come right back up. Okay, so I don't care so much about how far, you guys can relax if you're holding that stance, how far down you go, especially if it's painful. I don't want you to go lower than a point of pain. So you might make it a little more shallow. But one thing I want you to notice is how wide you are. Sometimes it hurts, like it bugs your knees more because people will take a little small step back and then this will happen. So if you're noticing that your back knee is out in front of your hip, it's usually because you didn't step far enough backwards. When I go down, my knee and my hip should be in a kind of one straight line there. Other things that you want to be mindful of is your front knee position. Make sure you're not like doing like one of these things where you're caving in, or one of these things where you're coming out. Both of those things are going to give you some problems too when you do your lunges. So I'm going to grab weights. This is optional. You don't have to, but we're going to go for 12 each leg. We're going to get ourselves in our position. We're going to feel balanced. We're going to make sure we're wide enough. We're going to rotate our hips forward, and then we're going to drop that back knee down, and we're going to come straight on up. 12 on one side, 12 on the other side, keeping a nice tall back and breathing. Once you reach your 12, you're just going to switch sides and do it exactly the same way. So if you use weights on the first leg, use weights on the second. If you didn't, don't. If you're using something for balance, that's also okay. Do what feels comfortable for you. Keeping that nice tall back. Going for 12. Once you reach your 12 and 12, a bit of a moment just for you guys to finish out your side. Our second movement, so this is going to be a superset, so we are doing a second exercise. You're just going to need one of your weights if you were using them. If you haven't, go ahead and grab one. We're going to do a single arm lateral raise, okay? So lateral means out to the side. We're going to do one arm at a time. What I want you to try to avoid is the dip, okay? So one arm's going to be coming out to the side. I want you to try to avoid this being what you're doing and just kind of swinging that arm up. It's kind of easy when we just do one side to kind of try to use our body and our hips to kind of get that weight up. So I'm going to encourage you guys to keep this nice and tight, keep this still. We're just going to raise one arm at a time. We're going to do 12 each side. Whenever you guys are ready, come with me. 12 a side. Keeping that shoulder down. Once you reach 12, you're just going to switch hands. 12 on the second side. Watch that dip. Once you guys reach 12 and 12, go ahead, set your weights down. I'm going to take a mini breather, mini break before we repeat those sets. We're doing 3 sets tonight. Ooh. 3 sets of 12 for this first superset. So lunges, based on how you felt the first time on the first round, maybe make some changes. Maybe if they felt too hard or too challenging, or you were feeling with them in your knees, maybe you do them holding onto a chair or the wall. Maybe don't go quite as low. If they were feeling totally fine and you were moving really fast, maybe you need to grab your weight. Maybe you make it into a movement-based lunge, okay? So remember, you can always make an exercise a little harder or a little easier. Depends on wherever you're at, which is fine. But we're gonna go ahead and start with our round 2. So I'm going to get myself set up with my weights. So remember, take your time to get in your position. Make sure you're wide enough. Make sure your foot's in the right position, knees in the right position, hips are in the right position. Bending that back knee, coming straight up. 12 each side. Breathing. And then switch sides. So remember, you want your hip and your back knee kind of stacked on top of each other. So make sure you're not collapsing in your stomach. You're keeping up tall. You're feeling that stretch in that back leg as you drop down. And 12. Whenever you guys finish out those lunges, remember, set one weight down or grab one of your weights. Those side raises, those lateral raises is what we're doing next for 12 each side. No dipping. Watch that shoulder. Once you reach 12, go ahead, switch sides. 12 on your second side. Keeping that working shoulder down away from your ear, not allowing your body or your torso to twist. And once again, once you reach that 12, take a bit of a rest. Set the weights down, shake up the arms, shake up the legs. I'm just going to talk real quick about that collapse that I was talking about. So a lot of times, another common thing that I see in lunges is that you collapse in your core here. And so this starts to happen where you kind of actually lean back on the back leg and you go too far forward on the front leg. That puts a lot of strain on the back knee as well. So if it feels like your stomach is doing a crunch, you're probably doing something wrong with your lunge, okay? Because when you go down, think about like the top half of you doing a plank. So this should be nice and still, right? I shouldn't be collapsing and rounding forward. So just another thing, I know lunges, there's so much to think about when you're doing lunges. There's like a lot of things going on. Makes them a hard exercise. For those of you guys that are part of like my membership groups, I know I was talking about this last week, but they're super effective. They do a lot of really great things for us. So I like to keep working at them. So if yours are not perfect tonight, that's fine. Just keep working at them. Start focusing on one thing that you can change, one thing that you can make better. And every time they'll get a little easier and easier. But here we go. We're going to go into our last set. Thinking about standing tall, not collapsing, 12 each side. Each side. Remember, take your time, make sure you're set up in the right position before you go down. You know, keeping that core tight. $12 each side. And once you reach your 12 and 12, our single arm lateral raises. Last time through, 12 aside, shoulders down, knees unlocked, core tight, shoulder height. $12 each side. So remember, working shoulder down away from your ears, core tight so that you're not twisting, knees unlocked, straight wrist. $12 and $12. Once you guys get through your last round of lateral raises, take a quick breather, quick break. Grab some water if you'd like. We're going to be heading into our second superset. This is where you're going to need your chair and where you're going to need that towel. So go ahead and grab those two things if they're not right next to you. All right. So our first exercise, so we're going to focus on doing a lot of single-sided things today. We're going to focus on single leg squats today. So I'm going to teach you how to do it coming off of a chair. I'm going to teach you how to do it kind of like how I often teach my deadlift, my single leg deadlift, a 1.5 stance. And then I'll teach you what it looks like without having any assistance. So in a single leg squat, this is a good way to learn them. You start sitting down. One foot is bent in towards your body. So I have my left leg bent in towards my body. My right leg is going to be extended out. You don't have to lock out the foot, okay? It can be slightly bent, but all of your weight pressure is going to go onto this left leg, okay? My right heel, when I'm doing like a 1.5 stance, it can stay on the ground. It's there to help balance me, okay? From here, I'm going to lean forward with my chest. I'm putting my weight on my left leg. I'm going to come to standing. I sit weight back in the heel of my left foot, and I come back down to seated in my chair. Okay, that's the 1.5 stance. The little bit more advanced way would be to do it without having your foot on the ground at all. So that's completely, all my weight is on that leg the whole time. Ooh, the balance is a little shaky too. Doesn't help that my chair is a little off balance. Okay, so what I'm going to suggest is doing the first round with the heel on the ground. The second round, I'm going to tell you to lift the heel up halfway, and then maybe the third round, we can try it with the heel off the floor. Now, if that doesn't feel right for you, if you want to keep your heel on the ground the whole time, totally fine. We're going to be doing it 3 times through. Our second exercise is going to involve the towel. So just make sure it's nearby, but we're going to go ahead and do our first round. We're going to do 12 each side. So my left leg's bent in, my right leg is extended, heels on the ground. I'm coming to standing, all my weight on my left foot. I'm coming back down to seated. So I'm trying to keep any weight off my right foot as I do this. Try to keep it on my left leg. Make sure the left heel is on the ground as well. Take your time. Butt back. Once you get 12 one side, same thing. So opposite leg bent, opposite leg extended. Now all the weight is going to go on to the opposite leg on my right leg for me. Just using that supporting leg for balance. $12 and $12. Once you reach your 12 on both sides, you can just come back down to a regular seated. You pull your feet back in right underneath your knees. For a second exercise, this is where you're going to grab onto that towel, that hand towel, and you're going to grab onto the very ends of it. So grab as long as it can be. We're going to do something called a towel pull down. So this obviously doesn't require any weight. You should feel this working isometrically in your muscles. We're going to take the towel, we're going to put it right up above our head. So extend our arms all the way. And what I want you to think about while you're doing this is that you're ripping this towel apart. So actively be pulling out to the side. The second you do that, even with your arms just right overhead, you should feel something start to move in the backs of your armpits down your back. That's the area we're trying to work. So we're going to create this tension, and we're going to continue to pull out to the side while bringing the towel right down behind our head, just to the tops of our shoulders. And then we're going to keep that tension. We're going to come straight back up. Okay, so actively pulling out to the side, we're lowering down. Pulling out to the side, we're coming back up. So try to do this without moving your head. Move your arms around your head instead of dipping down. Try to keep the shoulders down as you engage your lat. And breathe. Keep that tension. Harder than it looks. Going for 12. Once you reach your 12, bring those arms down, shake it on out. Should feel like you need to shake out your arm. That felt super easy for you. You probably weren't pulling out to the side actively enough. Okay, so you want to feel like you're actively pulling the whole time. What that means is you're going to engage your lats through their full range of motion the entire time. If you're really struggling with getting behind your head, like if you were kind of dipping your chin to get your arms behind your head, you can bring this down in front. just make sure it's pretty vertical. So it should come right down in front of your face and then come right back up. So if you're really struggled with hitting your arm up above your head there, if you have a shoulder injury, you can bring it down just right in front of your face. So that's a modification for that too. If you really struggled with that one with your shoulders. This is a great one though, a great exercise in general if you've had any shoulder issues or pain in the past, because the fact that you're only using your body weight is really helpful. So you're not adding any extra resistance, but you are working that muscle through its full plane of motion. Okay, so back to these one-legged squats. We're gonna do them a little different second time around, so we're gonna progress. So as long as this feels comfortable for you, what you're gonna do is you're gonna come up to standing, okay? From the standing position, I want you to see if you can lift your heel off the ground and then come back down to seated. So we're kind of pairing the two together, okay? So standing up with the heel on the ground, lifting the heel, and then coming back down to seated. That's what our goal is. We're gonna try this for round 2, adding a little bit on to our single leg squat. Trying to do it with control, which is a challenge. It requires some balance. Make sure that chair is always right behind you. It's your safety net. And again, if it's super challenging, just keep that heel down the whole time. But if you want that added challenge, we're trying to lift that heel on the way down. Once you get 12 on one side, it's gonna be the same on the second side. You will notice that you will have sides that might feel a little easier one side to the other, especially with our lower body. We all tend to be stronger one side versus the other. You see, I have my hands out in front of me, really just to help me balance. Should be feeling it's all in the front of your leg. Ooh. Once you get 12, if you need to shake up those legs a little bit before grabbing onto that towel, you can. When you're ready, we're going for our second set of our towel pull down. Towel comes up above your head, actively pulling out to the side. Remember, you can come either right behind your head or right in front. Just make sure you're trying to keep it in that vertical plane. Keep that tension the whole time. We're going for 12. Hold those shoulders down, chest up. Pulling out to the side. Drive those elbows down. And once you reach your 12, relax those arms down, shake them out, roll out those shoulders if you need to. Release any tension that you built up. And take a quick breather, quick break here before we go into our last set. Trying to move my chair around so I don't trip myself up. So on these last single leg squats, again, if you want that further progression, you can stay at either one of these stages. But the last progression is to try to do this, trying to keep your heels off the ground as you stand, off the ground as you sit, off the ground as you stand, off the ground as you sit. You can see, even challenging for me as I'm doing them. Okay. So, but whatever you do on one side, I want you to try to do it on both sides. So if it's super challenging on one of the sides, then maybe just keep it at the heel on the ground for lifting the heel as you come down. So here we go. We're going to go for it. Whichever way you guys want to try. Last set, 12 and 12, each side. Keep that weight forward. Okay to be wobbly. When you're wobbling, it's your body trying to stabilize. It's good. You're using all those stabilizing muscles. You're fighting. Twelve and 12. If you need to tap that foot down, that's fine. Try to get right back into it. Twelve and 12. Same thing. Shake out those legs if you need to. Once you're done. And then whenever you're ready, grabbing onto that towel. Last set through of pull downs, arms come above your head, shoulders down away from your ears, actually pulling out to the side. Bring those arms down either right in front or right behind you. Right back up extended. Keep that tension. Last 12. Keep breathing, shoulders down. And once you reach your 12, arms come down, shoulders down. Shake it on out. Give you guys a moment to finish on up. Our next superset, or our next circuit that we're going to be going into, this is where it's going to involve the yoga ball. So if you have one, now is a good time to grab it. If you don't have the yoga ball, you're going to be able to do this first exercise. You're just going to do it laying on the mat. We're going to do chest flies, like we did a couple weeks ago. And then our last exercise, we're going to do a bridge to the ball. And if you don't have a ball, I'm just going to have you put your feet on a chair. Okay, so okay if you don't have one, but if you do have one, go ahead and grab it. Like I said, lie on the mat flat on your back if you don't have the ball. Our first movement, we're actually going to do 3 motions. So our first movement is going to be a chest fly. So if you do have the ball, you're going to start seated on the ball. You're going to slowly walk your feet out until your back and your head are supported on the ball, lifting your hips up. Weights are going to come in towards your chest. So if you're lying on the mat, you're just lying on the mat on your back with your knees bent and your feet on the floor. You're going to take your weights. You're going to bring them directly up above your chest. This is the starting position for our chest fly. From here, we're going to come out horizontally, slight bend in our elbows, just out to our chest, and then we're going to press back up to center. So our arms are staying relatively long, just a slight bend in the elbow, and we're going for 12. Inhale, exhale. Squeeze that belly if you're on the ball. Once you reach your 12, you're going to bring your hands or your weights back down to your chest. If you're on the mat, you're just going to put them off to the side. If you're on the ball, you're going to walk your feet backwards, come to seated. Weights can come on the ground, and then you're going to come back on the ball. So this is a 3-part exercise. Once you guys are done with your chest flies, everybody's going to come to standing position. So if you're on the mat, come back on to standing, and we're going to add some dumbbell curls in between here. we're gonna grab onto our waist, feet are hip width distance, knees are unlocked, shoulders are down, elbows are into the rib cage. You're gonna come straight up to your shoulders and you're gonna slowly resist down. We're doing 12. Just regular bicep curls, breaking up our 2 ball movements that we've got. Breathe. Shoulders down. For 12. Once you reach your 12, weights come down. And our last movement is we're going to be doing a bridge. So if you do have a ball, we're going to be doing a bridge to the ball. If you do not have a ball, I'm going to have you put your feet on a chair instead of the ball. So we're going to come down to the mat with either the chair or the ball. I'm going to show you what it looks like. So we're going to lie down flat. You're going to get nice and close to either your chair or the ball. It's helpful if you're relatively new to this to have your ball like maybe against a wall or something so it doesn't go rolling away. You're going to bring your feet up onto your chair. Same with your chair. Make sure it's sturdy. Feet up onto the chair or feet up onto the ball. And then we're going to do glute bridges from here. So this is something that we've been doing. I think we did these last week. Hands come down to the floor. It's just going to add a little bit on because we're going to go a little bit higher with our feet elevated. Then we're going to slowly come back down onto our back. Okay, so we're going to do 12 of these, lifting our hips as high as they can, pressing our feet onto the chair, onto the ball, and then slowly coming back down. Lift and squeeze, inhale, lower. For 12. Coming up onto your shoulder blades. Once you reach 12, make sure your feet come down off of the chair or the ball. So you can slowly turn to one side. I ended this one on the floor so you guys get a little bit more rest recovery time before we come back on up to our chest flies. You got a moment here, catch your breath, reset, finish out. And we're gonna repeat all 3 of those exercises. We're gonna be doing them 2 more times. Starting with our chest fly. Like I said, chest flies can be easily done to the floor. The benefit of doing them to the ball or to like a bench is that when you come out to the side, you'll be able to come down just a little bit farther. If you're on a ball as opposed to the floor, you're going to get stopped about there. So that's okay. It just limits that full range of motion just a little bit, but you know, you got to use what you have. All right, let's go into our second set. So either on the mat, on the bench, or on the ball. We're going to get set up for our second round of 12 chest flies. So make sure if you're doing this on a ball, you're nice and stable. So your feet might be nice and wide. Lift your hips up. Make sure your upper back is supported. Arms come straight above your chest, and then they come out to the side. Remember, slight bend in the elbow, pressing up to center for 12. Tight core. Now, once you reach 12, weights come back down to your chest. You can either roll yourself up or you can put your weights down to the side if you're on the mat. Woo! Mine's about to roll away. Remember, our second exercise is bicep curl. So you're going to come to standing. Grab onto those weights again. We're going to get right into it. Knees unlocked, shoulders down. Second set of 12 curls. Shoulders down, knees unlocked. You guys know what's coming up next. Not last set. Got too excited there. Second set of our glute bridges on either our chair or on our ball, coming back down to the mat, lying on our back, feet up on our stabilized surface, hands on either side of our hips, pressing those hips up as high as they go, squeeze, slowly lower down. Try to come down each vertebrae at a time, rolling down to that low back for 12. Feel from the backs of your legs and your glutes. And once you reach your 12, again, you have that little breather time to slowly make your way up off of your mat. The elevated glute bridges are just a little bit more, get a little bit more intense than what we do is just flat on the mat. It gives you that, again, that added lift. You get a little bit more range of motion. Makes them a little bit harder than the flat ones, but if you're finding them to be too taxing, of course, you can always take them just down, keeping your feet on the mat the whole time. The choice is yours. So make sure you get a little bit of rest recovery time. You know, sometimes you're not always right in sync with where I'm at with my repetition. So once you get your little rest recovery, we are going to start going into third set here. This also takes a minute to get in place, especially if you're using the ball. Whenever you guys have had your set of rest recovery, go ahead and get yourself set up for our last round. So weights start into the chest, extend them right above the chest. And remember, if you're on the ball, squeeze those glutes, keep your hips up, arms out to the side, and then pressing up to center. Last time through of 12. Make sure you're breathing. Once you reach your 12, hands down to the chest. Walk it back if you're on the ball. Sit your waist down. Working with yoga balls, you always got to make sure you're like securing them in between your sets. They're one thing that, like, sometimes my weights go rolling, but that thing, it will take off. I have to make sure I put it in between things. Sorry if you guys have been chasing yoga balls around your house today. Added cardio, I guess. Bicep curls, last set. Last set of 12. This time, once you're done with bicep curls, you can set your waist down off to the side. Make your way back down to your mat with the ball or with the chair. We've got one more set through of these glute bridges, elevated glute bridges to get through. So feet up on that ball or chair, hands down on either side. Lift those hips as high as they can. Roll it back down. So your goal is to get those hips fully extended, if you can, pressing up to the ceiling. Last 12. And once you reach your 12, you guys need to stay on the mat for a moment. Get a little recovery, you can. We are done with the ball once you finish that last set. So if you need to move it off to the side so it doesn't interrupt the rest of your workout, feel free to do so. Grab some water. Alrighty, guys. So, little treat for you at the end here. You got a little core circuit that we're gonna do. So our last our last series of exercises, we're gonna do planks, okay? So it's gonna be a little bit more circuit style because I like to do planks for time. We're gonna be doing a front plank for 30 seconds. And then we're gonna take 10 seconds off. We're gonna do a right side plank for 30 seconds. We're gonna take 10 seconds off to switch. We're gonna do a left side plank for 30 seconds. And then we're gonna take 30 seconds of complete rest. And then we're gonna repeat the whole thing. We're gonna go through this plank circuit 2 times total. I'm gonna demonstrate it first. And there's 2 different ways that you guys can do this, okay? So you can do this, I'll show the modified version first, okay? So you can do a plank. So a plank is like a push-up. So you can do this kneeling. So from your knees to your shoulders, it should be a straight line. So this is not a plank with your butt up in the air. This is a plank with your hips down, straight line, knees to my shoulders, and I'm here. If you want a little bit more advanced, you'd come up onto your toes. My shoulders are right over my elbows the whole time. So modified on the knees or standard on the toes, okay? So that's our first style plank. Second style, I'm gonna turn my little light thing on because it's getting dark. Okay, side plank. So again, side plank can be done on your knees or it can be done with your feet together, okay? So modified, you'd still be on your side, kind of think like a mermaid. You're stacking your hips, your elbows right underneath your shoulder. Knees are on top of each other. The bottom knee is gonna be bent, so the foot's back behind you. You can either bend that top leg, or sometimes I just like to keep that top leg extended, and then you're gonna press up from here. So my bottom knee is on the ground, holding from this position. It would be the same. Remember, we're gonna have 10 seconds here to kind of switch around. Pressing up from our knee. If you want to do this more advanced, you put your 2 feet together, you'd stack them, and you'd lift up from here, trying to keep your hips in a nice straight line. If it helps to put your arm up in the air, you can do that as well, okay? So you can do it modified or you can do it standard. We're doing it 2 times around. So remember, the format is 30 seconds of plank, 10 seconds to move to the next plank, 30 seconds of plank. Once we get all 3 done, we'll take a little bit longer break. We'll take a 30-second break, and then we're gonna repeat it. It's gonna go fast. Before you guys even know it, we'll be done with it. So I'm gonna set my timer so that I'm not keeping time, because you guys don't want that, believe me. All right, here we go. In 10 seconds, we're gonna start with our regular plank. Either on your knees or on your toes. Here we go. In 3, 2, 1, and lift. Lift and hold. So in your plank, you're just holding. So you got plenty of time to think, thinking about whether your shoulders are right over your elbows, whether your legs are locked out and extended, whether you're letting your hips dip down or you're lifting them up and engaging your core. Shouldn't feel strain in your low back. You should feel some tightness kind of all around. We've got less than 10 seconds to go. Keep holding. Almost there. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And we're gonna come down. Remember, you got 10 seconds. We're gonna go into a right-sided plank. Here we go. 3, 2, 1, and lift off. So we've got our right elbow right under our right shoulder. Our knees are stacked, our hips are stacked. We either have our bottom knee on the ground or we have it up in the air. Holding tight. Remember, you can extend an arm if you like. You're imagining you've got a wall in front of you, a wall behind you, holding you still. You got 10 seconds. Keep breathing. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Lower down, 10 seconds. No, it's not a lot of time. Let's get ourselves ready. We gotta go to our left side, gotta be even. 2, 1, and lift. All right, so we're thinking about stacking that shoulder over the elbow. We're stacking our hips on top of each other. We're stacking our knees, we're stacking our ankles. And we're breathing, we're holding. Squeeze that belly, squeeze that butt. Don't let yourself bend at your hips. You got 10 seconds, then we're taking a longer break. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and down. All right, guys, we got about a 40-second break here before we do it all over again. Take your time, take your rest. Need to hold child pose, you can. About 25 seconds, we're gonna do those all three again. So we're starting with our regular plank. Elbows underneath your shoulders, either on your knees or on your toes. Got 15 more seconds. And we're only doing this 2 times around. So last time around, we got 10 seconds. Make it your best one. Here we go, in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and lift off. All right, 30 seconds. Holding strong, both shoulders over your elbows, pushing back through your heels, lift those hips up. Almost there, guys, 10 seconds. 3, 2, 1, and down. All right, 10 seconds. Here we go. Right side. In 3, 2, 1. Here we go. Lift off. So either stacking your knee on the ground or both knees up in the air, hips on top of each other, shoulders on top of each other. That helps you to stay level. You can raise your top arm. You guys got this. You got 10 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and switch sides. 10 seconds. Here we go. Last plank, last 30 seconds of the workout, starting in 3, 2, 1, and lift. Stack those hips, stack those shoulders. You can do it. Keep pushing. Lift, lift, lift. Squeeze everything you got. Planks are all about holding and squeezing. You can do it. 15 seconds. You got it. 10 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and down. All right, guys, nice work. Take your time, whatever time you need. Get off the mat. If you want to do some stretching on the mat, you can. We will meet in seated position for some final stretches. Threw a little circuit in there for you guys at the end. Don't always do that on flex days, but sometimes it's nice to do things for time and not for repetition. Just some added core work in there. All right, so last seated stretch. Just sitting up nice and tall, extend your right leg out, heel down, toe up, leaning forward, flat back. Now we can relax. Couple deep inhales, switch sides when you're ready. Send the left leg out, heel down, toe up. And then coming back to center, let's do our hip opener stretch. So either crossing your ankles, or if you're able to cross your ankle above your knee, opening up that hip. Letting gravity drop that hip down. If you need to add a little bit of pressure, just make sure you're never pressing on your kneecap, but if you want to press on your thigh, push that down. You should feel a good stretch up through the side of your hip. Knees nice and tall with the back. And let's go ahead and switch sides. Left leg up. Again, if you want to add some light pressure, if you need a deeper stretch. And then reverse. Shake out those legs. Let's do a spinal twist in a seated position. So sitting up nice and tall. Let's look around to our right shoulder first. Taking that left hand on the outside of your right knee. You can grab behind your chair if you like to help you twist. Take a couple deep breaths, looking over your right shoulder. And then when you're ready back to center, we're just going to switch. So all the way over to our left side, looking over our left shoulder, right hand over the left knee. And then coming back to center again, let's take our right arm across our body, hug it in. And then switch sides. And two arms behind your back, drop those shoulders down. Try to get those elbows pulling together, open up that chest. And take those arms out in front, round the back, pushing your hands forward. And when you're ready, coming up nice and tall. Awesome job, guys. Thanks so much for hanging out. Have a good rest of your Wednesday evening. I'll see you guys all next week.
Thank you.